Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to season three. Holy crap of FAB Team Cup. I'm so excited to be here. I'm your host tonight, Adam Filipchuk. Next to me is Shawn Hill, and I can say this has been a long time in the making for us to get this going. It is so exciting to have our first live match of the season for you all. Shawn, how are you doing?
I'm good. I've been looking forward to this league for a while. I know that when we were in Lille at the Pro Tour, we kind of were moseying around talking like, "Oh, I can't wait for this to come back," because last season was so interesting. We got a lot of names that came up, players that no one really knew that were kind of elevated because of the league, and I'm excited to see that happen again this year. We have a lot of big players already in the league. Nam Vo playing a game today, and Brody Sporlock. A lot of these players that are coming in hot, and I think that those players, everybody knows they're good, but I want to see what else we've got. And today is a game that's going to be really interesting because we have players from Chile playing, which is freaking awesome. It's wild for us.
Yeah, why don't you, are you able to tell me a little bit more about who we've got playing tonight?
Yeah, so tonight we've got Andrew, who is in Team Combat Chain. Andrew is a Canadian player from Alberta, actually part of your neck of the woods, I believe. And we've got David or David Pino or Pino. I'm not sure, David or David. Tell me afterwards how you like us to pronounce your name, because I'm sure you'll be on coverage quite a bit. But we've got players from Chile, and I played my game yesterday against Felipe, another player of Team Chile, and I was amazed at how great these players are. Their play is so tight, and this was I played a game that was very unfavored, not unfavored. I was playing Drama, he was playing Icelander. We all know what that means. He ended up taking the game very close game, but these guys know how to play. And Chile's it's interesting because South America, the game is kind of just getting there now. Right, so it's really cool to see these players come out and so strong in their first league matches. Really.
Well, and to your point, like you're saying, the game's just coming out there now, but you were telling me just before we went live that like some of the guys on this team and some of the guys that have been that are representing some of that scene have actually been playing for a bit longer.
Well, yeah, I believe it was last. So when the game came out around Monarch, cards weren't available in South America. It was really new, and I remember playing against this player called Jorge, and I believe he's on Team Chile, and he was playing. This was back when IRA was a thing in Blitz and Skirmish Season 1, where everybody was on webcam. TTS wasn't a thing. And this, there's a lot of passion coming from South America, and I think we see that reflected now in them coming into a team, and not only that, but bringing really solid players.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like this is it is so cool to see. We're getting people from all over the world uh coming in and representing their local scenes, and like we're starting to see these pockets of flesh and blood pop up that we had no idea existed.
Well, it's funny because if you think about Flesh and Blood in general, a lot of people are like, well, they want to target the U.S. and that's the big market and all that. But realistically, there's so much talent, all across Australia and obviously New Zealand, but places like Poland. Who would have thought that one of the best teams in the world was from Poland? And I can, tell you that you can't underestimate any of these players that are from newer areas because a lot of talent is being discovered and a lot of these players are coming up, and leagues like this, and this is why I think everybody who's interested in FAB should be watching what's happening with the league. There's a lot of really great talent. There's a lot of decks that are coming out. Yesterday, one of our team members played another member of the team from Chile, and the guy was on Azalea, which is wild. But with Dynasty, I think the Azalea got a lot of powerful cards like immobilizing shot, and we're going to see a lot of new techs coming out, and especially when you look at outside of the Canadian market or outside of the U.S. meta, people are a lot more crazy with their decks. We like to think that people in Asia or especially New Zealand, they always come up with these wild ideas. So maybe Chile can come and innovate with a lot of heroes that are getting a lot more support now with these new sets.
Yeah, we're gonna. Well, and even like a great example is Brazil. Like if we look at Magic, Brazil is an incredibly huge Magic scene full of like incredibly strong players. We do have a Brazilian team in this Team Cup, and
Do
just like population base alone, like there's a reason why the states do have such a strong representation. You just look at population base alone, you're more likely to have strong players because you just have more
Yeah.
people to choose from. But Brazil's the same example. Like we're going to see at some point some hard hitters come out from places like Brazil and all throughout South America and pockets of the world that are on no one's radar right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, like, I remember when I traveled across to Lille with you, we got to play against a lot of players that we never play against, which is European players. There's so many different European players, everybody from Germany and again Poland, UK, France. A lot of these players that we don't see in our North American standard team, and the threat was there. The threat is there, and a league like this that's international, we've got players from Greece, from Chile, from Asia, North America. We're going to see a lot of talent, and hopefully what I'm excited for is people who think outside of the box, people who don't just play the deck because that's the deck. You know what I mean? I like to see innovators. I like to see odd decks, weird takes. Something that was really cool for me was seeing that the calling in San Jose was won by Brute, by Reinar, of anything, Reinar. So, like James White said in the article that just came out, the meta's open and they like it that way. They think that there's a lot of cool stuff happening, and they didn't want to ban anything. They didn't want to change the meta. And I think with Dynasty, we're going to see that emulsify quite a bit. We're going to see the meta change, evolve, and get dense, which is what I want to see.
Yeah, no, exactly. Same here. I'm just getting word from the first matchup tonight. Sounds like they're ready to get started. So we're going to take you down to the game view here. We've got in our first match here, we've got Andrew Podleski on the right in red, taking on, I apologize, I don't have it right in front of me here. Shawn, do you?
It's David Pino or David Pino. Again, tell me how you want me to say your name, man. I asked you. But no, we have David versus Andrew, and Andrew is a die-hard Runeblade player. I think he's been playing Viserai and Briar and Chain for as long as he's been playing the game. And another thing that we're seeing, and I don't know if you guys can see it on stream quite yet, but we've got Reinar coming from Team Chile.
Yeah, that's
which
spicy.
Is, I mean, it's Mandible Reinar, it's Scab Skins, it's the deck. It's the deck, and I love the mandibles are both on the same side. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, TTS doesn't have the alternates built in. All right,
Darn
so
it.
we do have Andrew on the play here, choosing to go first, I believe. I'm not certain. We didn't see the dice roll, so I'm not certain if he's choosing to go first, setting up, or if David's trying to set up that tempo play.
I do believe he won the die roll, and as a Viserai player going into Reinar, it's a no-brainer. If you can start, you start. It doesn't matter if you do nothing with that turn. You must start because there's not a single deck in Flesh and Blood that can destroy, that can take advantage of a turn one like Reinar can. Reinar
That's
is
true.
the ultimate king of turn one. Intimidate, take 21, move on to the next thing.
Yeah. So we're going to the start of David's turn here. And did David forget his tunic trigger?
I believe he did. We're going to see. I think he's looking at that. They might be talking to each other. We'll see.
Yeah, it looks like they're mousing over that right now. They're talking about it. But we do
And
see.
there he is.
Okay. So Andrew's going to let him have it. Tunic
Andrew's
to
going to let it.
3.
Yeah, 2 to 3. No, a great. Well, actually, let's see here. We can't hear the players, obviously, but we are looking at what's going on, and they might be contesting that little play there. Obviously, the league, like you were telling me earlier, we want a good standard of play, but we also understand that we're all friends here. Flesh and Blood has a beautiful community, and we can all talk to each other. Andrew being such a sweetheart, I think he's going to let David get his point back there, and we'll see what happens. But that's a command and conquer.
Yeah, just open it up right away with a command and conquer for 6. Yeah.
Command and conquer for 6. Does that ever get old?
I mean, it's an effective play.
This command and conquer, and this is where we see Crown being so good. I remember. Do you remember when Crown was first revealed? Everybody's like, "Well, there goes Arcanite Skullcap."
Yeah, but it makes sense. I mean, like you still get a block for 2. It's an unconditional block for 2, and you get to.
Yeah.
It's a Hope Merchant's Hood on top of that. Like, what's not to love?
It's hands down one of the best cards to come out of the last 2 years of Fab, and I think we've just seen it now. That's why it's so damn good. Being able to say, you know what, Command and Conquer, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna block some of that. I'm gonna get rid of that card, and I'll have a 5 card hand next turn anyways.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So Reinhardt doing that. Now there's no go again. He didn't roll Scab Skin, so that's going to be another turn. I'm guessing that David would have liked for Andrew to come in with some attacks and get rid of some cards in that hand because when Reinhardt just goes CNC, typically you want to get a little bit more juice out of that play, and I think he might have been missing a tool or two to do that.
Yeah, I guess he didn't have a pummel lined up or anything.
So we're seeing a little bit of thinking there. One thing that's interesting is Aether Ironweave. That card is so good for a common. And you see it's on Andrew's board right now. I remember this used to be a sideboard card into Control. And oh boy.
Ooh, that's not what you want to see. Sorry to interrupt you there, Shawn. Yeah, we see Andrew opening with a Revel here. Just to turn on Viscera, I presume.
Ooh, that is very, very unfortunate. I'm not sure if there's perhaps it's a trap, perhaps there's something more coming. But yeah, whenever you see someone throw out a Revel first, I mean, that's a difficult situation to be in. But who knows? Who knows what kind of tricks, Spellbound Creepers is a card, so you never know what could happen.
Yep. Well, mind you, at this point, like the first Revel isn't going to. It's going to turn on Viscera, and that's it. Swarming, makes triggers Viz, makes a rune chant. You're going to get the go again there. Yes, we can do tricky things. The most classic tricky play you have is like if you've already played an attack action, then you can go Revels in response, Revel with Creepers, and get 2 activations on Revel. But unfortunately, this Revel
doesn't seem to be. Yeah.
That doesn't seem to be the play here. Pushed.
Yeah, no. One less of those. That's something you do when you're playing against Viscera. You're like, yeah, 1 down. Bring on the next 2. So we're going to see a Rosetta Thorn. There's no go again on that Rosetta. It's just coming in for a good old 2, 2, and 1. You have to wonder what's in Andrew's hand.
Yeah, 2 cards left. He's gonna I guess Arsenal 1, keep 1. Is he gonna Creepers here?
I'd be very surprised. I'm trying to think of the cards that would justify a Creeper. He's got no floating currently. I believe. There we go. We're going to see an Arsenal and pass.
Yeah. So Andrew just not a good hand apparently. Man, that's rough. That's not what you want to see this early in the game. You want to have that big powerhouse setup, either the powerhouse setup turn or just that power turn.
We can see on David's side, he pitched a Wrecker Romp and blocked 1 Arcane. Now, if you're the Reinhardt player, you're going, okay, my opponent's gonna come in with this. Am I gonna overpitch and try to mitigate a bit more rune chance that are gonna be coming down the line, or or am I just gonna lose a card? Because if you're playing Reinhardt, unless your hand is kind of like, I don't know what to do, I can probably do as much damage with 3 cards as I would with 4. Then you're free to just go, hey, I'm gonna pitch that, block some Arcane, keep some life. Because this is a very, I don't want to say a slow start, but it is a very stable start from both players where there's not anything crazy happening. And from playing a lot of, and we see a barraging beatdown. Let's see here. Because these decks can be very explosive. Viscera, I mean, you're a seasoned Viscera player. Both decks can just go wild.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But these first 2 turns have been like, okay, who's gonna show up and be like, hey, my deck's cooler, I can do cooler stuff than you can. And I think a barraging beatdown's a nice way to set that up. So we'll see what happens here. It's gonna be a card banished. And yet another Wrecker Romp. That's why the first one went away. And there we go with Riled Up.
Followed up with a Riled Up. And now, of course, the incentive for Andrew being if he blocks this with 2 cards, he doesn't see the bonus on barraging beatdown. But Viscera is, for the most part, incentivized to hold their hand. They want to play off. Viscera maybe can play off 3-card hands better than most Rune Blades, but, you ideally want those 4 or 5-card hands. You want those big power turns. So now Andrew has to decide how much of a walloping am I willing to take here?
I think the way to look at it, and this is coming from someone who doesn't play a lot of Rune Blade, someone who plays more, illusionist type decks, but you have to look at your life as a resource. And that's the main thing for me is, this riled up is not threatening cards. It's not threatening a board. It's just a lot of damage.
Yeah, and the reality is well, oh, we're seeing a block here.
All right, so we've got a double red block in the shape of a Sonata Arcanix and a Rune. What's that card again?
Rune Flash.
Rune Flash. Yeah, Rune Flash. All
So
right.
Andrew just not finding the hands he wants here in this early game, I guess.
Well, you have to also think that he still has a 3-card hand after all of that.
That is true.
And 3 cards for Runeblade, you can do some really nasty stuff on 3 cards if those are the right 3 cards.
No, that is a very good point. So we're going into the start of Andrew's turn, and here we see a Command and Conquer.
And you know what? That's a pretty darn good play. Being able to go, I'm going to block you completely, or what did he take? He took 1 from that trade, and then come back with a CNC, maintain his arsenal, which is likely something of value, either like a red mauve or something even better. I think that's a really good play. And again, this is why Command and Conquer is so good. It doesn't matter that Crown of Providence exists. Command and Conquer is still one of the better cards in FAB.
But speaking of Crown of Providence, it looks like we're going to see a Crown block here and likely just cycle away that Arsenal, take 4, and draw a card. And, the Reiner's still pretty happy with that. You only take 4 and you're coming into the 5-card hand. That's...
And if one of those cards is Bloodrush Bellows, 5 cards is more than enough to get crazy. And we'll pretty much see that. I like, one of the things that I like against when I'm playing against a Brute player is they don't lollygag. If they've got it, they've got it, and they'll just go, hey, this is coming in, and we're going to maybe see that from David right now. See what he's got. He's going to open up with a...
He's got so many options. Look at him scanning his hand there.
Yeah, you see him going like, maybe this, maybe that. And another barraging beatdown, another red barraging beatdown on top of that. So we're going to see Intimidate.
So exactly that, and Intimidate, and if you can follow this up with another Intimidate. And there we go, a yellow barraging beatdown.
And there we are. Oh, isn't that beautiful? So we're looking at +7 on the next attack. Now, if that's a swing big, that is 15 whole damage. So let's see what comes next.
And even Rampage.
Even more brutal. Oh my lord, that's an Alpha Rampage. So we're going to see, and a discard of Smashing Instinct. So those last 2 cards are gone. And that is coming for 16. And there's not much that Andrew could say about that.
Yeah, you say, yep, thank you very much, and have a nice day. I guess you throw the equipment in front of it. The Ironweave and Grasp of the Arknight for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Maybe
it's just the Ironweave.
So that makes me wonder if maybe Andrew's got the nuts on his end now, because you always want to get that block out of our Ironweave before you use it. And maybe Andrew's got, because
it's a 5-card hand.
It's a 5-card hand.
It's Viserai with 5 cards, man. It's Viserai with 5 cards. And that's the one thing, Rhinar is so interesting, and there's big plays like what we just saw that are pretty standard for Rhinar. Coming in for 16 is like, yeah, okay, cool. Here's 16 damage. And we're going to see, oh boy, we're going to see a lead the charge into a red Shrill.
All right, it's something. It's not that's 7, make 1 on the back end. You still have an action point after that, so it's something, but that's not the clapback.
It's not 16.
No, that's
it's not 16.
And it's got to, honestly, it's got to be probably 20 or more at this point.
Oh, I mean, like what? 23 is the kind of the go-to turn for Viserai. So if it's like, hey, here's 16, you're like, that's fine. Here's 23. Keep the change.
Yeah, exactly. And so, Andrew's in that position where it's the quad Intimidate. He doesn't have a choice. He's got to hold his hand. He's got to clap back with whatever he's got. But this might not be the position our intrepid hero wants to be in right now.
Well, look, if there's one character that can go, okay, I'll hold on to my cards and I'll just take some damage, Viserai is the hero to do that, because against other decks, being unable to block is a death sentence. And now we're going to see, you called it. Here's the Ironweave. And a second Shrill.
Second Shrill, 1 floating.
A second red Shrill.
So now we're at a 15 damage turn.
We are. And we're going to see a pitch of a pulping for that rune chant, blocking that arcane damage, and taking 7 and an arsenal from Andrew.
Okay. So, I mean, it's not bad by any means.
It's not bad. You know, when you're looking at these kind of games, you know, these big heroes, it kind of reminds me of that whole, like, you know, Briar Starvo situation, like that will they, won't they, you know, hey, you know, here's 15, and then you go, well, here's 27, and then, oh, here's, you know, another 15, and you're like, well, do I have the other 15 to go back? And now we're going to see Blood Rush Bellows discarding a new card, Skullcrack, which gives him a resource. So we're going to see
That's
there's
pretty spicy.
unfortunately there's no rock on the field, which, you know, this would be a perfect activation of the
Well, no, he
great
does get
item.
he does draw the 2 off Blood Rush Bellow, so he still can't rock.
It's true. It's true. Very true. So we're going to see a Mandible Claws here for 5 would go again.
But still,
My lord. Blood Rush Bellows is just one of those cards.
and they're
Oh, and the
resolving
Intimidate.
the intimidate off of the, well, not off Blood Rush Bellows, but off of Rhinar secondary to
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, I think Davi there was a little excited. He said, I'm gonna blood rush, and oh yeah, okay, of course intimidate. Yeah, that mechanic your character does. Obviously, I'm gonna take one of your cards. Thank you very much.
And I see
But yeah,
I see FAB Chile in the chat there. Shout out to you guys. Yeah, David's looking great in this match so far. So we'll see. It's going to be a tight one for sure.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, you know, the second you see a Blood Rush Billows coming down, you're like, oh boy, what are those extra cards in your hand? I need to know what those cards are. And we're gonna know now. If he's going for the second mandible, he might not have that big attack. But if there's no second mandible, you could be in for quite a ride.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. So we see the
and
pitch, and there we go.
yeah,
Second mandible, another 5.
another 5 with 1 floating.
Threatens to take Andrew to 12 currently if Andrew doesn't do anything about this. And is there, I know Levy, of course, has Graveling Ground, but is there a one costed anything that, oh no, we
There
actually
it
have
is.
2
There's
floating.
Pack Hunt. There's 2 floating. So there was Pack Hunt that was an option with an Intimidate again, and there was also correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know the cost offhand, but Swing Big. Is it a 2 or a 3 cost?
Swing Big is a 2 cost, so that would have been an option.
That would have also been an option. 10 for 2, which is pretty
That's a
darn
20
good.
damage. Yeah, that would have been 20 damage. Either way, that's a huge amount of damage.
I mean, this is still 18, right? We were talking earlier about that turn of, you know, barraging into Alpha Rampage. This is not far from that. This is pretty, you know, it's actually better. We're talking wider, more damage. What's not to love, you know? And that's the power of Blood Rush Bellows. I remember, you know, playing before Crucible of War, playing in the original meta. Rhinar wasn't quite the deck back then. There was a lot of Katsu going around, a lot of Dorinthia and Bravo, but those turns of intimidating into Alpha, that's from Welcome to Wrath. That was possible back then, and it's definitely still possible now.
Yeah, 100%. And like we've seen Rhinar do well. We saw Rhinar win the San Jose Calling. We saw 2 Rhinars top 8. 2 Rhinars actually top 8'd the San Jose Calling, I believe, and 2 Rhinars top 8'd Canadian Nationals this year. And Rhinar's been doing very well lately.
Rhinar, I mean, like Rhinar is one of those characters, you know, in a similar fashion to Kano. He does what he does, and he doesn't really care for what you're gonna do.
So we did see Andrew throwing out the Command and Conquer there to block 3. Taking
Yeah.
Andrew all the way down to 7. He still does have 3 cards in hand with an arsenal. Starting off with a Rattle Bones, pitching a blue Shrill of Skull form. I imagine we're
And that's
getting
the right color.
I imagine we're getting a swarming here. Yeah, there
Yeah,
it is.
Swarming Gloomveil would be pretty. Yeah, exactly. That's on point and on brand for Viscera. You know, the best 0 cost card in Flesh and Blood, in my opinion. That card is, you know, outside of Plunder Run, but no, we're gonna see Swarming Gloomveil coming in. It's coming in with Go again, and you know, one thing we have to think about: Creepers is still active. Andrew did
Yes.
not block with Creepers. He's very low on life. If I had money and if I was a betting man, I'd say there's something to activate that Creepers right now and make the turn big. But we'll see what happens. You know, he's got 1 floating, 1 card in hand, 1 in arsenal. Um, we'll see. I'm excited to see, because at this point, the game is being decided now,
We're
essentially.
gonna see a
And there
rebel
it is.
here.
And there it is. Such a good card. I mean, 5 damage for 0. That's so good.
Yeah, we're up to 6 rune
There he
chants.
is.
Do we have like another 0 cost in hand? That would be the icing on the cake if we had another swarming or something like that. Oh, and it's going to be into the
And it,
Rosetta. It's a Rosetta for 10. This threatens to take David to 3. Oh, and
I
we're
mean,
destroying. Oh, never mind. We're destroying the rune chants.
yeah, he's just removing the tokens. But David did a really good thing where he's got 2 floating. So, that's a good thing about pitching a blue early on and getting rid of that. Like, that's a good game plan, essentially, if you're playing against anything that could ping you. He's got 2 floating. So it's not 10, it's 8. And we're going to see another reckless swing. So he's going to block 5 of that, going and taking 1. And then you still got the 4 to contend with.
Oh, and then we're going to
Okay.
scab skin 2 of them.
Yeah, so I believe he's going to marker down his 2 AB. Yeah, there we go. 2 Arcane, and then Scab Skins. Scab Skins, one of those cards that's just, it's one of those cards you read the first time and you go, this is really good. And then you realize that rolling a dice in Flesh and Blood is not for the, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's you have to have a lot of gusto, because if you roll that dice and you
Oh,
roll 1, oh,
speak of the devil. We are activating scab skins here, it looks like.
I
Oh, no,
don't
we're
believe
putting
so.
a
I
counter.
believe
No,
that's a
we're
battle
putting a
warrant.
counter. Yeah, that's a battle
Yeah,
warrant.
yeah,
My
yeah.
apologies.
Yeah. That'd be I'd be like, wow, activating Scab Skins with 2 cards in hand. What does he have?
Yeah, that was my thought too. That was where I was initially thinking. But
One thing that's really cool now, and this is, you're looking at the board and you're saying, okay, Andrew had this really big turn, came in with a lot of damage, came in swinging, showing the power of Revel, which is why when we saw in turn 1, that first play of the game was Revel. You go, why? Why? This card is so good. It's 5 damage for 0. Why would you use it? And we are seeing the dice roll, and it's a 6.
oh my goodness.
And that's 3 action points. What is he going to do with all those action points?
We're going to start off with a mandible claw.
Okay,
I
I
mean,
can see
even
that.
mandible claw are, well, no, you want to do one more thing after this. Like,
I would assume so. I mean, he's got 1 floating after that first mandible claw. He didn't discard a card, so it's got no go. There's no 6 discard, right? So there's no go again.
correct. No go, but he does have the extra action
But he
points,
doesn't have
right?
the action points. Yeah, exactly. So he's going to come in with the other claw again for 3. And now you're thinking, what costs 0? What costs 0
Wait, has he
that could
got a
do
wounding,
damage?
like that with that wounding bull, or not
I don't
wounding
know, but
bull? Oh, what's the 0? It's a generic common from Welcome to Wrath. Blocks for
oh,
3.
Scarf. Not okay. I was gonna say Scar for Scar. Generic. Yeah, no, not Wounding Bull. I know exactly what card you're talking about. It has a samurai on it. It hits for 5 to cost 0. It's wounding something. I can't remember the name of the card right
Yeah.
now, but that's fine. If you know in the chat, let us know. Correct us, because we should know all the cards. We've been playing for long enough, but I can't remember this card. Um, so this is where things get crazy for me. Andrew's a 2, and
Yep.
he's got 5 cards, and
Yep.
he's got creepers.
But if I see Pat mentioning wounding blow is the card we're thinking of.
Blow, we weren't far from it. Oh, oh
Oh,
my
this is
lord!
interesting.
And
We're
the
starting off.
Arknight shard comes out.
I know Arcanine Shard didn't see much play at first, and it just kind of slowly creeped up in value, like play wise. And I think it's a powerhouse card. Yeah, every once in a while you get stuck with it and you can't block, but on the whole, it does so many cool things, like enable a shrill right off the bat.
Yeah, you're just like, this shrill is for. Oh no, never mind. This shrill is for. What is this? Is this a red? Yeah, it's a red.
Yeah, it's red.
So it's
This is
coming
7.
for 7.
So
It's coming for
FAB
7.
Chile's making a good point in chat right now, and I was thinking this as well. I just didn't get around to saying it. Was there could be a reckless in David's hand? We did see him pitch 2 earlier in the game,
Yeah,
so
we
would have had to have found the third one, but it is not out of the realm of possibility that he has it right now.
It's not out of the realm, and if it could be an arsenal card. Reckless is one of those cards that you just lose to. You just lose. It's kind of like Steelblade Shunt. If you're at 1 and your opponent has a Steelblade Shunt and you swing with your weapon, you lose.
Well,
So
that's where
it could,
you just got to cheeky activate the Helios Miter, and you're good to go, right?
yeah, Helios Miter, absolutely. Helios Miter over Crown of Providence. Let's go.
So we see,
Oh,
yeah, a shrill
okay,
for
so we're gonna
7
see a
here.
block here. Shrill for 7, blocking with Savage Beatdown, a new card from Dynasty as well.
And we're resolving it, so it doesn't look like we've got the reckless swing. Andrew, of course,
That
is
is
going to activate creepers.
Yeah, that's going to give Andrew the big green light. Come on in, Sonata
Oh,
Arconics.
here we go. Sonata. Are we pitching into it? Looks like we
We
are.
are. We are. So that's going to be X's one, keeping one floating for that Rosetta. And now Andrew
We're
just has
looking
to
at four
go, all
cards.
right.
All right, the moment of truth. We've got attack, attack, non-attack, non-attack. Wow.
Oh, oh God. Oh. And out of those non-attacks, it's not nothing. It's Mortartide and Tome.
Yep. Well,
I
the
mean,
non-attacks he
you
doesn't
know
get to
what's
keep. The
coming up.
attacks he gets to keep, right?
He gets to keep them, but I'm like, you're looking at those cards, and those cards are gone now. But it doesn't matter. The game's pretty much, done. But Mortartide is so good. Every time I see a Mortartide, I don't care if it's being put into your hand or just shown to me. I just freak out a little bit because that card is so damn good.
So now we see the follow-up, a meet and greet. This does have go again because David's only got 1 AP and the Sonata ping for 2.
Yeah, he does. And but one thing to note, I do believe he already took that first rune chant. No, did he? No, he didn't
No,
take it.
he pitched into
He AB'd
it.
it. He pitched into it. Okay, which is the right play.
See the block for 4 here, stopping that rune chant generation off meet and greet.
Yeah. Hmm.
But
So Andrew still has one
Andrew's
action point, and
certainly in
we're
the
gonna
driver's seat right now.
we're
But
gonna
the
see.
thing
Well, I mean,
is, every turn that he doesn't get the kill, David's got the chance of drawing the reckless swing, right?
absolutely. It's when you're at that kind of life, it's a lot of times you talk about the Kodachi type lock, right? But this is also very valid, and we're gonna see probably the best card he could have had at this point.
Yeah, 100%. He's gonna
That
get to draw. David's gonna get to draw a card off of blocking the Rosetta with that all you got.
and he's going to say, "Is that all you got? Perfect. I'm going to have an extra card in my hand, and start the next turn with a card in arsenal and a card in hand." And when you're thinking about a deck that can do 8 damage with 2 cards, you got to
Yep.
be worried a little bit if you're Andrew.
Yeah, for sure. The only thing is, he doesn't have anything to discard. Like he's only got the 1 card to pitch, the 1 card to play.
I mean,
Oh, and we're just seeing a
and
pass here.
he's just going to pass, maybe digging for that reckless.
I think it's you've got like the cornered brute. They're gonna try to reckless swing their way out of it. That makes sense to me.
I mean, maybe he just has what he needs, and because there's different plays he could have done. If you're just gonna pass, just roll the scabskins. Your arsenal is full. Just roll the scabskins, see what you get. Um,
Looks like Andrew's doing some thinking right now.
I would be
He's
too.
looking through his graveyard right now. So I wonder if he's got another rattle bones.
There's a few cards that are giveaways, and Rattlebones is definitely one of those. If you see a Rune Blade player grab his graveyard and start looking at stuff, you're like, I wonder
Yeah,
what's in your hand.
yeah. You're either wondering about a rattle bones or you're wondering, I think, about a what's left in the deck at that point, like
Exactly.
become the Arknight or something like that.
And I could tell you, he did pitch it. I believe he pitched early on. We saw one more Jatai being revealed. He played 2 Revels. He played, I believe, all 3 red shrills are gone. Only one of those. What's that card called? Darn it. He rattled bonesed it. The best
Oh, the
0 cost in all
swarming,
of
the
Flesh and Blood.
swarming.
Swarming. There you go.
So
And we're going to
and
see it again now.
some deja vu here. Yeah, Andrew's played a rattlebones, pitching a blue shrill of skull form. He's going into the swarming Gloomveil. This is 3 with go again. And
3
now we're going to
with
see
go
if
again.
David's got the reckless swing. Once again, this is David's chance to answer the question.
And so far the answer is no, I don't have it. But we're gonna go to reactions. Oh man, I'm if I'm Andrew here, I'm like, please no, please no, please no, please no, please no.
Oh, 100%. Like I'm sweating right now. I'm reliving my winning in for Canadian Nats this year all over again, where I got with the double reckless swing.
Oh, is there something more like heartbreaking than double reckless swing? You're like, I'm at 4, I could still do it. I've got this. And Mauvern Skies. It's not red, but it's not blue.
Oh, I mean, I don't think you're playing. I don't think you're playing this for the the hit trigger at this point. It's purely for the go again and just to
Go
like make
again.
rune chance and to try to just force David's hand.
So such a Viserai player thing to say. I don't think you really play it for the on hit. I can tell you, having played against a lot of Viserai players, it matters. The three matters.
You say that as a Dromai player, though, where or
Uh,
you've been
I say that as a Prism player. I will make a Spectral Shield if it stops you from getting three more rune chants.
fair enough. So we see this
And there
rune
we go.
clash, three or four with go again. Andrews does still have one card in hand after this.
And that is a blue super rare pitch, but not the right super rare from WTR. Boy, does he wish that that was a reckless swing.
100%. Yeah, the long gone super rare class. We don't have those anymore.
You know what? I kind of miss it, and at the same time, I'm like, it's cool that everything's majestic. I mean, like, it's. I remember opening these packs and opening cards like Pounding Gale and going like, I want this to be Lord of Winds.
So we see the barraging beatdown getting thrown in front of this, and I gotta wonder. Oh, we're taking the hit for one. Andrew's gonna make the rune chance. Holy!
And there we go. It matters, Adam. It matters.
I did not think that
And
was.
there,
I thought we were gonna throw the tunic at that for sure.
and that could have been an oversight from David, or maybe he knew it was coming. And I think at this point he's got to think that he's not gone. He pitches that Blood Rush Bellows. He AB3s. He still has one floating. And then he throws the tunic possibly in front of the Rosetta, keeping him alive at one. That's the play to stay alive. But at this point, you've got to think like, what kind of life do I have after this turn as a Rhinar player? I've got one card in Arsenal, no more items, and I'm playing against a Viserai who's going to have a full hand.
Yeah, and I'm just getting word from Andrew here, and it looks like I'm doing my math here right now, and I do think Davi's dead on board right now because this three rune chance plus another two Rosettas, that's five arcane. He only had one
It's
floating.
true. It's true. No, absolutely. You are right. And there we go. Yeah. The two I completely omitted that two arcane. The one thing that makes Rosetta so good, I completely forgot about for 2 seconds. I got too excited about talking about the good old days of opening super rares and Welcome to Wrath. Um, but yeah, and that's it. So we've got our winner for the game. We've got Andrew versus David, and I'm so happy to see Rhinar and Viserai. I feel like Viserai is one of those decks that, you know, people are putting aside and going, you know what, Briar's just the better rune blade. And, you know, there's no character in the game that could do big turns like Viserai can with these revels into shrills into nonsense into nonsense. Even without Bloodsheath Scalata, it still packs a punch.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no. Runeblade is and like Viserai is much more relevant and a factor in our meta than I think people give him credit for right now. Certainly, Briar can do scarier things. Briar, you get your turn zero channel mount heroic into a turn one force of nature. I think that's how Christopher Yali won one of his games in top eight
Yeah,
of worlds. So like certainly
absolutely.
Briar can just blow you out of the water, but Viserai, in my opinion, is just the more consistent. And please correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I just feel that Viserai is the more consistent rune blade over a greater sample size.
I mean, listen, I value my reputation, and by that I mean I don't have a reputation, but I'm not getting into the Runeblade Wars, man. I'll stick in my lane. I'll let you take that flag and go down the road with it. I think both decks have their merit, and we just saw right now how Viserai can just do these turns. Mauvrin Skies, the on hit is so relevant. Whether it's two or three rune chance, that's all he needed to really close that game. Because I think if we weren't looking at the extra rune chance, he would have survived that game, right?
Yeah,
He would
yeah,
have survived that
he
turn.
would have survived that turn, and then he's got one more shot at finding the reckless swing. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what to say about that one. That was an unfortunate misblock, and it was, I guess, fortunate for Andrew's case. It does put Team Combat Chain up 2-1 in the series now over FAB Chile as well. So
It does.
it's a best of five. Three matches gets you the win for the series. So we've got one more match for you guys still tonight. We've got Patrick Shaw taking on Jorge Vergara. And that's coming up right away here. So don't go
And
anywhere. Or go ahead
and
quickly, Shawn.
we were talking about players from Chile that were on with the game when the game started, and that's Jorge. So we're going to see two veterans of the game go at it in the league. So definitely stay on for that. We're going to be back in a few minutes.
Yeah, just a couple quick seconds. We'll be right back. All right, we are back. How's everybody doing? Welcome to. Sorry about the quick glitch with the. We didn't see Shawn there for a second. We saw my
Ah,
Discord screen.
it's fine.
We're
You're not
ironing
missing
out
out
the
on much.
kinks. We're ironing out the kinks here. We're this is the first stream of the season, the first broadcast of the season. We're getting there. We're back though, and man, what
We
a
are.
match that was. What do you have to say
I
there, Shawn?
I just I love seeing matches that aren't the meta, like the meta deck versus the meta deck, and we just saw a great display. It was Viserai versus Rhinar. You know, I love seeing characters from the original two sets. I think that like my heart is with Dory and you know and I love seeing those decks that are kind of the underdogs. I love seeing them soar and be played by these guys who like you know Andrew Pro Tour player, great player. You
Yes.
know, local hometown hero kind of guy. You know, great Magic player in his respects and stuff. But now he's in Fab. Sadly, I wish I could say more about David. I don't know you very well. I hope to learn to know you more. But you know, that was a really well executed game, and you can see kind of the partnership between players. You know, David missed that tunic at the beginning of the game, and Andrew said, "You know what? I've got jitters too, man. You're good. Put it on. We're good. Let's have fun. Let's play this game of Fab." And yeah, it was a great game. So close,
Oh
so
yeah,
close.
nail biter. Just coming down to whether David can find his reckless swing in time. And 100%, like I
Yeah,
said, I've got these nervous flashbacks to my Canadian winning in for top eight this past season, where Ian Smith took me down with back-to-back reckless swings, and so I was so
well,
worried about for Andrew there, but Andrew managed to pull through, and
he did. He
we've
did.
so that does put Team Combat Chain up 2-1 in the series. Now we've got another match coming up for you guys. We've got Patrick Shaw taking on. Uh,
Jorge,
did we both take
Jorge.
it off the? There we go.
There we go. Jorge from Team Chile, and I mean Pat. Who everybody knows Pat. Pat Smashgood. He's the guy.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Pat, my co-host on the Combat Chain podcast, a great guy. Probably his most notable finish was taking down quite a big Fighters Guild event. But beyond that, just a solid through and through player, and still looking to prove himself a little bit going into this season.
And you know, Pat. One thing to say about Pat, and I hold that same respect to you. Just people who love the game, man. Love the game, love the community, and that's why I think it's so cool he's playing against Jorge because Jorge is if not one of the first supporters, if not the first, one of the first supporters of Fab in South America. I remember
Yeah,
playing him, you know, way back in season one of the skirmishes, and I think he was playing Ira back then. It was hard to get cards, and you know, cool to see those guys still playing the game, still repping, still loving the game, and loving the community.
yeah, 100%. Those early adopters of the game, and like those are the ones who like they become established pillars of the community because they foster the community. They spread the game. They bring the good word of Flesh and Blood to others, and it's so cool to see. Uh, Undoubtedly a huge pillar for the Fab Chile community.
I think so, and you know this league, I can't stress this enough. You know, if you're an intermediate player, if you're you know a pro player, if you're a big name like Namvo or Brody, or if you're just some unknown guy like Shawn Hill, and you want to play against good players, you want to get out there and you want to meet people and get better at the game, this league is really what it's all about.
Yeah, 100%. Like this is the amount of exposure for this league, like we were talking about before earlier in the cast. You know, we've got players and teams from all over the world. You know, the point in case, you know, Team Fab Chile here. There's a team out of Brazil. We've got multiple teams in Asia. We've got teams in the I believe it's Team Invaders is in Malaysia. Like it's all over the place. You know, just little pockets of or my
Talent.
apologies. They might be Indonesia. I'm not certain which one they are actually now. But either way, the point being that just we've got remarkable players popping up from all over the world, and it's super exciting to see this is the biggest season we've had for this so far, and it's just super cool to see the game grow, to see these passion projects and endeavors grow, Like, when I say passion project, I mean like this league. Like I know Tyler Broaden started this league season one. Like it was just him on his own commissioning and running the whole
Yeah,
thing, and he had six teams. And to go from that to season three, we're now 32 teams deep, with a full broadcast
crazy.
team and a full team of people running the league. Like it's incredible.
You know, you're talking about all these players. I remember when Fab was a spec. I remember, walking into an LGS and going, "What's that on the shelf?" And the guy going, "I don't know. I bought this from a distributor. I don't know what it is." And me going, "Give me some of that." Opened it, fell in love with the game. And at that time, there was nobody. There was just a few people. The game was so young, and it's blossoming. And the coolest thing for me is, these leagues and the community growing. We're kind of seeing the game expand in a way that is a first for this game. I think we had a little bit of a disconnect on the TTS here, but it's a first for this game. I went to my LGS, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago for the Dynasty launch, and we had new players
That's
coming
awesome.
from where I am. You have to understand, I'm in Montreal. The crowd here is extremely competitive. It's kind of tight. We have new players coming in and going, "Hey, this game looks cool. I saw this new assassin guy. I thought he looked really neat. How does the game work?" And a lot of these players are playing other games, and they're kind of like, "I'm not really happy where the game I'm playing is. Can you show me how this game works?" And in no game, I've been playing card games since I was 8, and it's 22 years of me trying every card game under the sun. There's no game, to my knowledge, where the community will open with arms and say, "Hey, come on in. I'm going to give you rares. I'm going to give you commons. I'm going to get you started. I want you to play this game." And that's just a testament to, number one, how good Flesh and Blood is. Like, technically, from a technical standpoint, from a game design standpoint, it is a brilliant game. James White made a game system that is brutally, brutally brilliant. The game is it's outstanding. I love it. I'm not playing anything else, right? I'm all in on Flesh and Blood. But not only that, the community that gravitates towards Flesh and Blood, we love the game. We all love the game. We all want to play
Yeah.
it. I want to play more of it. I want to know what you're playing. I want to know what everybody's playing. I want to know what they're playing in Chile. I want to see people play Azalea like Team Chile does. I want to see people play freaking Bolton. Like, where are those cool decks that people just say, "I love this deck. That's what I'm going to play. I love this game. I want to play this game." And I think we're having a connection issue here with Jorge. So just listen to the sound of our voices and watch my red face in my basement with my yellow wall.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, just a couple quick technical issues. Hopefully, we'll have the match started here for you guys shortly.
but
But yeah, to your
it's fine, just connect.
but to your point, like the seeing, and certainly like our part of our plan is to bring you coverage from all the different teams all over the world with this league, and to see some of the different talent that people have to bring, because certainly in North America, we're used to seeing an aggro strategy and seeing
Yeah.
certain heroes. Like, I mean, right now we're seeing, of course, thanks to the pioneering by Michael Hamilton, we're seeing a lot of Bolander, and um, to dip into other parts of the world where maybe those decks aren't as prevalent is super interesting. I am I'm just excited for where this season's going to go. Uh, Especially, and you know what, while we're on it, to talk about a little bit about what this season, hopefully we're going to be bringing to you guys, this Friday night. We're still ironing out some of the details, tentatively
Yeah.
looking for a uh, somewhere between a 5 to 7 p.m. EDT start. Of course, we're going to make all the details available on Twitter, on the Fab Foundry Discord server. We want everybody to be aware of this one, but we've got we're hosting a I don't know if we're going to call it like Fab Feature Friday Night Showdown or something like that, but uh, we're effectively putting together a showcase showdown. We've got for sure booked on the bill Calvin Holt taking on Joe Cologne, Shaky Leaf Gaming versus the Hyperloopers. But that's not
Yeah.
all the action we have for you guys. We've got also confirmed CJ Monroe versus Bernard Hasia, another Div 1 match of uh, Hyperloopers taking on Shaky Leaf Gaming. And we've got some other stuff in the works in the background too. We're hoping to bring you 3 to 4 matches on Friday night. We've got a whole panel of casters, including myself and got to point that way, not that way, and Shawn Hill. It's going to be a heck of
It's
a
just gonna
presentation.
it's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be so much fun, man. I'm just excited. One thing, and if you guys are watching this, I know we're all waiting for the game. We all want the good stuff, the juice, but um, the meta's all new. We have, Battle Harden, what was it, Philadelphia, that we saw a lot of Dromize and dashes, and we're kind of getting an idea of what the meta is. But make no mistake, this 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 is where we're going to see innovators. This is where we're going to see people saying, I know what's good, and I'm going to show you. And that's what I mean. Like, I love playing the big decks. I love playing, Icelander and stuff. But I want to see the weird stuff, man. Bring the weird stuff. I remember, and you were pointing this out, Europe for a while, and this was back in, my God, was it like Everfest? I think there was a lot of Boltons winning events, and everybody's like, How's Bolton winning events? Where you are kind of cements the meta, and you kind of pointed it out where like the U.S. for a long time was a very aggro meta. It's kind of like, hey, I'm going to push damage and push damage and push damage, and then you're going to try and stop me, and I'm going to win. But there's so many more, strategies and that we can see out of FAB, and that's what I want to see, and that's what the league's going to bring us, because we have such a diverse group of players from all over the world bringing their own kind of spin on the game, and I love it, man. I'm all in. I'm all for it. I'm all in for it. I want to watch every game. I want to know everybody. I want to talk to everyone. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. This is great. We're still having a little bit of a technical issue here. I think there's a ping issue going on with TTS. But Adam, I meant to ask you, what's going on with that beard, buddy?
You know what? We just, yeah, I know we're looking a little bit Grizzly Adams right now. It's funny actually because I part of my goal for my whole brand and persona with this game is I want to have the best mustache in Flesh and Blood, and
You'd
it's
you'd want
hiding.
to have.
It's hiding here. It's here somewhere, but it's not highlighted right now. It's hidden, and
I love I love the I want to have the best mustache as if you don't have it.
well, you know
You know
what? There is some phenomenal competition. There is well, for starters, from Push the Point. Oh boy, I'm trying to remember which one. Um, oh God, I need to know these names better. There's too many. Like I know what content channel he's from, but remembering everybody's names is it can be a little tough at times.
That's fine.
Uh, but phenomenal mustache with Push the Point, and then another phenomenal mustache out of Australia. I believe he top aided. Uh, there you go. You can see chat bobblehead going, yeah. Push the Point guy has a fantastic stash. If anybody can tell us his name, well, I try to look for it while interacting with you guys. That'd be much appreciated. Um,
Multitask, Adam. I mean, like, look, you will say something. You've got one of those mustaches, and like that orange beanie is iconic. Whenever I was in love with you, which was awesome and such a great experience. But like people at home that were watching the stream were like, "Hey, that's the combat chain guy." On the stream, just catching you like in the wild, just like drafting Uprising, and you've got that beanie on your head, you know. I think that's cool, and like, but there's so many like unique characters. Man, I remember, and this is everybody in chat or watching the stream is gonna have a fun time with this. Do you remember the Pheno sleeves?
yes. Uh, I don't know if the Pheno sleeves really got out there, unfortunately. That's okay. I think I've got some. I'm sure
Still
I've got like.
sealed?
Well, I've got. Where's my sealed box? It's got to be around. It's they're right over there. You keep the chat busy, or I'll be right back.
Perfect. So, okay, so here's the story. At Lille, we were sitting down at some cafe drinking, beers or whatever. Adam and I were the translators for a group of players because no one spoke French, but we spoke French, so we kind of did a whole thing. And we're sitting there, and he's going through Instagram, and he found this video of Fino playing on stream, and he gave the camera just such a Fino look, and that image was forever cemented and put on sleeves for us to use at some point. I don't think they've been revealed yet,
They so
but eventually we
I did
do.
play
You have
them
them?
at Worlds. Yeah,
There it
I got
is.
them up on the screen right now. And you know what? The best part about
Amazing.
playing
Oh,
those sleeves at Worlds was I actually Fido got to see them firsthand, and his
oh,
reaction was to die for. His reaction was amazing, and that made it all worth it for me. So
oh, I'm so sad I missed on that. We also did the flake ones,
yeah,
right?
we
We
did the
did the
flake
flake
ones for
sleeves
North America for Canadian nationals,
for
and
the
let me see if
Canadian
I have.
Nats.
I'm
Oh,
just
that
digging
was so
through
great.
old piles of old sleeves now, trying to see whose sleeves I've got kicking around.
I think the best thing for me about those sleeves is how expensive they were.
Money is not an issue. It was all worth it in the end.
So expensive. But you know what? Like we got to Canadian Nats and I went to Flake and I'm like, Matt, come see. We have something to show you. Took the sleeve, showed it to him, and it's just like I have to go find it. Hold on, it'll take 2 seconds.
All right, so Sean's off to dig up the flake sleeves. Yeah, I think there's a certain charm to just having fun with these major events too. I think moving forward, like a lot of us have I've noticed a lot of big players have been starting to like do some sort of gag sleeve for any major event, and I it's definitely a trend that I want to get in on. It's just a lot of good humored fun to just help like bring the community together. And there we go. There's the flake sleeves.
It
Our
looks like
boy
Wallace from Wallace and Gromit. Oh,
he does.
oh,
He really does. Yeah, no, our
oh.
boy Flake from the Instant Speed podcast, uh, just
Oh.
one of the best guys in Flesh and Blood. He's
I mean, like one of the best guys ever, and like take the commentating aside, he's definitely someone to look up to, and say, hey, I want to do commentating. Like, if you want a master class in charismatic commentating, just watch him work for like a couple hours. But just a genuine sweetheart. You walk up to him, and everybody on the casting crew for Fab, like Tandon's awesome, everybody's great, and but Matt's one of those guys. Like he saw those sleeves and just instantly went, how much? Like these weren't free, right? Like you put time and effort behind those, right? No one just gave those to you. You actually had to work for those, right? We're like, yeah, we did, and he was kind of humbled, and at the same time, he explained to us like how that picture got taken, right? Because that was a big thing. Like that picture is just so wild, and you can't see it really on the sleeve, but the Mona Lisa's behind him.
yep.
Like what a face! What's such a for such a handsome guy? Like Flake is a handsome dude, and he's got that picture. Anyways, all the credit to you, Flake. You're a better man than I, that's for sure. But
He's a hero. He's a Canadian hero. He's a Flesh and Blood hero. He is a hero in all respects of the word.
and I think we have a stable connection, guys.
It's looking promising so far. We just need to see if that ping's going to come down now.
We do. I mean, it's hovering in the 180s. That's not too bad.
Oh, you're seeing it
It's
at
not too
180. I'm
bad.
seeing it at 999 still. Huh.
Oh, that's not good. No, I'm
So
seeing
maybe
at
it's my
180.
connection.
Maybe it is. Are you hosting this?
I'm hosting all of this.
Come on, man. That's probably why. That would make sense. I mean, look, we'll see how it goes. Worst case scenario, we'll still work on the technical side of things, but I can't see the chat right now. But let me just pull that up real quick. Won't be too long. I wanted to ask you guys a question. I wanted to know what everybody thinks the next rogue deck is going to be. I want to know what's going to take everybody by storm because everybody's talking about Dash. Everybody knows Icelander is just so good because it's Icelander, right? Because Michael Hamilton does not play bad decks. He makes the best decks in the game. He was like, I'm going to figure out how to make Oldhim the best deck. And then he's like, that was fun. I'm going to figure out how to make Icelander the best deck.
Yeah, for sure. And so for starters, like that makes me wonder is like with all the dynasty cards we're getting now, is Michael Hamilton brewing in the background? What's he working on?
Well,
Um,
Hamilton quit his job to get better at FAB. You could bet money that he's there just going like, how do I make the best deck again and again? Because if you've met Michael Hamilton, right?
yeah, yeah, briefly.
You had a chance. You didn't you have him on the pod for a bit?
Yes, yes, we did.
And he's one of those guys like I don't think he'll stop.
Yeah, no,
You know what I
he's
mean?
quit. Yeah, like to your point, he's quit his job. He's got a nice little paycheck coming in from LSS now, and the guy is in a very comfortable position to work and
Sure.
hone his craft now, right?
I mean, I love that going into Worlds, people are like, who's the best player? Who's the best player? And like, there's kind of not that there was no question because obviously there's so many great players and so many players that are deserving of a world title, but like Michael Hamilton was on everybody's mind. There was no question there. He was just the guy.
Yeah, one
And
hundred percent.
so I think he's somewhere just going, hey, I want to make the next best deck. I want to make the next best deck. But the bottom line is the next Michael Hamilton might not even be playing Fab right now. You don't know.
Oh, exactly. It's like
Or could be in this league.
we don't know yet, and that's where you never know where that you never know where and when that talent's gonna pop up, and like something like that, it just kind of has to pop up organically. Like I'm sure there's lots of good players out there. There's still like the Daniel Rakowskis and all those like very formidable players that are gonna do incredible things with this game. But like you can put in the work, but like I guess I'm rambling here. Let me rephrase my question this way. I've wondered to what extent, like, what separates the hard work, nature versus nurture, the work hard. I'm going to get there through just through hard grit versus the naturally talented. They've just got it, like what separates those two apart? Like, where do you draw the line? Like, what does it take to be the best?
I mean, one thing for sure is dedication. Like, I'm not the best. I'm far from the best. I pride myself on being one of those guys that locally, I'm pretty solid, but there's players that Fab is all they do. And I mean, like, it doesn't matter if you're talented. It doesn't matter if you could spot, you could spot the play before everybody else. Obviously, being able to see the play before your opponent is always going to give you an advantage. But the bottom line is knowing the game, having the reps, and taking it seriously. And this is a game we're all here to have fun. But there's some players that fun is fine and all, but I want to be the very best. Like that's what I want to be. I want to murder. I want to walk in. And there's players like that, and I think that that's dedication. I think that's love for the game, and I think that that's made even easier or encouraged by the community of the game. I think that people that know the game and go, hey, I love this environment and I want to get good at it. I want to get better. And I'll throw a shout out actually right now to a player. There's a player that locally, a guy that came in at a local at some point at an armory event, walked in with a Dorinthia deck, figured out how to play the game online, didn't really know how the game worked, walked in and got just rocked, right? Rocked. But you know what he did? He went, how do I get better? He sat with me and another player and he goes, why is my deck not working? So we
Mm-hmm.
explained to him like, hey, maybe don't play Wounding Blow in Dorinthia. Maybe play these cards instead. Maybe play that. This is how reactions work. This is how your timing works. This is how blocking works. This is why Reprise is so good. This is why all of this is so good. And he kind of went, I got it. Next week came in, went 1-3, and then sat back again. How can I get better? And this guy has been playing the game for I don't know 6, 7, 8 months. He went to Canadian Nationals, did really well at Canadian Nationals. He and for the first time last week at a local, beat me. My first loss against him, and we sat down, and the first thing he says, he goes, "My turn now." and
And
he
that's the
beat me. I was on Dromai. He was playing a dash. He played it perfectly. He won the game. And after that, I went like, man, that's awesome. That is so awesome that you put the work in, and like well deserved, dude. Well deserved. Jonathan, if you're watching this, if you see this later, well deserved.
and that's kind of the beauty of this game is this game does reward those who like put in the work and hone their craft and just get better at understanding, at reading the plays, at everything to like understand the board state and understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Now this is interesting. So we did get into this on our most recent episode, or the most recent published episode of the Combat Chain podcast, where we talked about this game. Also, though, that's kind of its fault. And now, when I say that, I will emphasize that here on this stream, like we are competitively focused first, and so we do appreciate that the game is competitively geared. However, when we were talking about it on the Combat Chain, where in that particular episode with Pheno Black, it was a little more geared towards like community building and just the future of the game, and like how do we get like those casual players to buy in. And the reality is this competitive scene can scare away like casual players too, and like the casual kitchen
Yeah.
player, like the millions upon millions who will support this game, because like like we as the competitive player base, certainly we're supporting the game right now as a strong core. But
Yeah.
when you look at Magic and what makes Magic successful, it's the millions upon millions of casual EDH players who don't grind, they don't go to GPs, but they buy packs when a new set comes out and they want to get that one card for their commander deck. And though those millions upon millions of people are the ones who are going to ultimately make this game grow from where it's at now to like the next big step. But getting those
So
players to buy on is tough, and I think
I have
PvE is going
like
to be the answer. And I'm sure you have thoughts on this too.
I mean like I'm just like I'm trying to stay and not take over the conversation, but the one thing for sure is yeah, there's other games and there's that the whale out there, and no one, and this is I mean like this is a like pretty rough opinion, but no one that plays Magic loves Magic as much as hardcore Flesh and Blood players love Flesh and Blood. Is
That's
my
true.
opinion.
That's
As
true.
it's not, it's an opinion. It's an opinion. And like I don't
Yeah.
want to take anything away from any other game. I've played so many. I love very many games, but there's just something awesome about Flesh and Blood. And I do agree. Casual formats, Commoner helped, and Ultimate Pit Fight's kind of finding its groove. But PvE is coming. But above all that, what we are here for right now is some classic, constructive, competitive play, and we're
And
about to
we've
see that
got it
because we are
now.
live.
Yes,
We are we are live. Everybody who took a break because you were tired of hearing me talk, come on back. We've got some content for you. We've got some games going.
we're live.
We are live, and you were talking about America, America, and you were talking about America and aggressive decks, and it doesn't get more aggressive than Briar versus Fi.
This is hot rod American flesh and blood right here. And we've got, it looks like right off the bat, the Briar. My apologies, I don't have the name in front of me again. I have too many
It's
screens going.
Jorge. It's Jorge.
Jorge, starting on the play here, opening up with a "This round's on me," a great starting play against a Fi. This is gonna, with Fi works with those reverse breakpoints, and this does such a good job of just like bringing those threes down to twos, down to ones, maybe shutting off an Art of War. Like, oh, and then we're following it up with a Channel Mount Heroic. Like, this is a
Oh my god.
huge starting turn for Jorge.
Oh boy.
But
Okay, so I was laughing because we're talking like muscle cars, aggro decks, and then this round's on me. But this round's on me into Channel Mount, into Fi. Like if Jorge arsenals that last card, which he's going to, yeah, there he goes.
like
If Jorge arsenals, he's kind of removing Fi from the equation for a turn, and he's putting just gas, and Channel Mount. Like I don't care who you are, it's kind of one of those things like playing against Kano. Kano will brutally, savagely win a game, and Channel Mount will do the same damn thing. It's
Yeah,
so good.
100%. Like the value swing on this is huge. So we're going to the start of Pat's turn. Pat does have the 5 card hand to start, and he's opening with a Rise from the Ashes. So +3 to his next Draconic or Ninja. We do still have a 5 card hand. We've got the Phoenix Flame in hand now, and you really got to hope Pat's got something like an Art of War to start this off.
Well, I mean, this is a card I really like, Rise from the Ashes, and I think it's starting to be played more and more and more into Fi in Fi. It turns, it doesn't nullify this round's on me, but hey, it's an extra card. It's +3, and he's going to pitch another one. Okay, so this is really cool because I remember when Fi first came out, everybody was trying to do what I call the cute stuff, which is like In Flames, Uprising, Flame Call Awakening, Rise from the Ashes, and spreading flames and all that good stuff. And now, and then people moved away from that and went more into like the 0 for 4 builds. But now everybody's back, and Rise from the Ashes is like I love that card. Being able to go, I'm gonna go through my deck after, well, sorry, Flame Call Awakening. Being able to go, I'm gonna go through my deck, get another card, and then just have these crazy turns. Did you say something about an Art of War, or did I miss that?
No, I was saying this is where you want an Art of War.
Oh, okay. I thought you said, and there's an Art of War. I'm like, wow, that would be like pretty clutch, coming from Pat if he had it.
Yeah.
Um,
So, and no Art of War. We did see a Flame Call, like you said, the Flame Call Awakening come out, coming across for 5 because of this round's on me. Aether Ironweave blocks. We're bringing it down to 4, getting across. Following that up with the Phoenix Flame. This guy effectively coming in for 0 because of the this round's on me negative buff. And Pat's still with 3 cards in hand now. He's following up with the Searing Emberblade, pitching a Phoenix Flame and another Phoenix Flame. Oof, this ended up being a little bit of a rough hand for Pat, I think.
and I think it's fine to have those rough hands on a turn with this rounds on me. It's one of those things where it kind of nullifies your turn to begin with. So, if there was one turn for Pat to have that, I mean, like his next turn is likely going to be a pretty block heavy turn, unless Jorge stumbled a bit on his hand. But being that he kept that arsenal, I doubt that that's going to happen. I think we're going to see a pretty aggressive turn coming from Jorge.
Yeah, so we see Pat or Jorge going down to 34, Pat arsenaling, and yeah, effectively Jorge coming back now at the start of his next turn. Channel Mount out. He's opening with the Sonata. Uh, are we pitching into this? We are. It looks like we're going to pitch for an, I think X of 1. Yeah, 1 floating. So X of 1. We're going to be looking at 4 cards.
And Jorge wants 2 0 cost go again attack action cards. He wants Swarming Gloomveil, Revel in Runeblood, anything that has go again. And he's gonna kind of
I
get
see
his
a
answer.
swarming there.
What's that card hiding, Jorge?
I
What
think
is
is that
it?
a belittle?
It's a
No, a
Bramble
bramble
Spark.
spark. Jinx. So Jorge getting 1 card out of this, the swarming, which is still not bad.
Yeah, but
Uh,
if you're Pat, if like let's be honest, if you're Pat and you see 4 cards flip and you see him just get 1 card, you're like, thank you, because once you
I
have a
guess
channel out,
yeah, that's a good point.
it, it gets really out of hand really fast. So I bet that that card in Arsenal is probably a Lightning Surge. Let's see what happens. We're gonna see it. Oh, it's a
Oh, it's
swarming. So
swarming.
ooh, that is not good. We're
No,
gonna
so
see
that's
a
going to be
swarming Gloomveil.
7 go again. It's getting the go again off the. No, he has not made.
He has not. So it's getting the
No.
go again simply off the embodiment of lightning.
So this is 6 go again.
Yeah, 6 go again. You know what? If you're Pat right now, you're happy. You're happy because that's 6 go again, and unless Jorge has some trick to get another embodiment, which he could. I mean, he's got a Sonata out already. Okay, so we're gonna see a
Ooh.
belittle. Does he have a reveal with it? We know that he
Yeah,
does
he's
because he
got the
has a
swarming in
swarming.
hand.
Yeah, so he's gonna go get. I'm guessing a red Minnowism maybe. Okay, he's
I mean,
shortcutting.
no, I think that's just the proper reveal.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah, because Pat hasn't taken the damage off the belittle yet. But this is a belittle for 5. I imagine, like, I guess it depends what that last card in hand is, because we're getting a
And
blue Minnowism, so he's
we
looking
are
for
getting a blue
resources then, I
minnow.
imagine.
I mean, looking at that, he's got the swarming in hand. He's got the blue minnow. I would assume he's got a non-attack action in his hand. That way he can go non-attack, go again, swarming into something else. He's going to break the chain and
Make a rune
you know,
chant.
make a rune chant. That's a really interesting play. I'm looking at the plays right now. I'm looking at like if I'm Jorge, I'm like, what's in the hand? What's in the hand? Because we have so much information. That's one of the things about Briar. You get a lot of info, right?
Yes.
Uh, but we've got a lot of information, and it's a
Oh,
red minnowism.
there we go.
Oh boy! So we're going to see red minnowism making another embodiment of lightning into that swarming gloom veil for at this point 10.
Yes, that is 10 go again.
Wow, 10 go again plus a rune chant with one floating. And say it with me, kids. Rosetta for 4.
So we see Pat
And we're
throwing
going to
some
see a
blocks
block.
here. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna throw pretty much the hand at this. We got an E strike, a belittle, a mounting anger. That's 3, 5, 7.
Yeah.
So
The
taking
good
3 off
news,
this.
the good news if you're Pat is that there's not 2 earth cards in the pitch zone.
Yeah, the channel is not sticking around after this.
Yeah, the channel's gone. So still, I mean, if you're Jorge, you're like, I got 3 cards out of your hand. I invalidated your turn 1 with this round's on me.
Oh yeah, Jorge's
Plus,
very happy with this.
yeah, if you're Jorge, you're like, this is good. I'm fine. I've got this. And if you're Pat, you're like, good cards, good cards, good cards, and not the worst card to have. It doesn't have weight go again, but it's a 4. And if you're Jorge, you're probably taking 4 here.
Oh yeah, you happily
And
take this, and you ride the 10 life lead you have.
oh yeah, big time, big time. But
But
you can't.
Jorge doesn't have a channel mount anymore. Jorge doesn't like if he wants to have another big turn like that, he's got to put in the work to set it up now.
And you know what else Jorge doesn't have? Mask of the Pouncing Lynx.
That's true.
Because if there's one card that can turn a game, and we saw it with Daniel Rakowski, getting these just lava burst into lava burst turns, you could do that with fire. No one else could do it. Promise of Plenty. Is that coming from the arsenal?
I was just wondering that myself.
I didn't. I
think
don't know
he
if
had an arsenal.
Chat's gonna correct us. Chat's gonna be like, pay more attention.
Yep.
No, I don't believe that was coming from the arsenal. If it was, then that's 6 would go again and can replace itself pretty much. Pat's gonna take that 6.
Yeah, and I don't think this has go again. So this comes down to will Jorge be able to creep or something.
I mean, if I'm Pat, I'm hoping it doesn't have go again. And he's gonna pitch.
I think we're creeper. Oh yeah, we're creepersing it out.
Or maybe it had go again the whole time and we didn't see it. Hold on. So this time's on. No, this is not a creepers. It was coming from the arsenal.
Okay.
It was from the arsenal. Yeah, okay, perfect. That makes a lot more sense now. So we're gonna see if this round's on me again, and then embodiment of lightning. Man, this round's on me is just so good into Fi.
It is. It really is. Ooh, into a rev. Oh, double rev. Oh my God, this is. I don't know how you come back from this as Pat.
Well, folks,
we are
double
witnessing a
revel.
massacre.
Double revel is it's one of those things where, again, it doesn't really matter what your game plan is. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. Double revel just, that's 8 damage, man. That's 8 arcane damage, and Pat is running 0 AB.
So this
is yeah, and is Pat going to hold the hand? Is the question.
I mean, is there a point in blocking at this point? Like, do you just try to throw everything you've got back at him?
Okay.
So, you save 2 life. When you don't have AB, that 2 life can make a difference for sure.
Okay. So here's where I'm at. Pat has 6 cards. If one of those cards is an Art of War, if 2 of those cards are Art of War, we could see some very, very crazy stuff.
I think it's got to be a double Art of War turn though at this point because of the this round's on me negative buff.
It has to be, and it could be crazy, or it could be nothing. But at this point, if you're Pat, you're feeling the pressure, and watching Daniel Rakowski play in the semifinals against I forget his name, the player who was in finals with Michael Hamilton.
Chris
You
Friali.
might be able, yeah, Chris Reality. So if you're watching that game at Worlds where Daniel Rakowski lost, uh, you're looking at that turn with the channel mount, and you're kind of going, I don't think there's much that could be done there, and it has nothing to do with your skill as a player. It has nothing to do with anything. Briar is one of those decks that just wins.
Yep, very much so.
Sometimes,
Like that, and that's why
sometimes it.
say it's like ceiling wise, it is the highest rune blade. Like it can do things that no other rune blade can do. Just insane amounts of damage. So we see Pat here. He's deciding not to block the Rosetta. He's going to one. Pat's got one turn to try to do something. I don't even know what, or else he's dead to grasp next turn.
I mean, look, you're Pat. You're at one. Briar's at 30. Briar's got all armors. Everything's up. Pat doesn't have AB. Being at one against Briar with no AB is it's this turn has to be the biggest fight turn you've ever seen in your life. This turn has to be the alpha and omega of ninja combat chain links. You just have to get to that point where you get these 38 damage turns, and you can go, thank you for playing the game, but I don't know what's gonna happen, man. I'm looking at the board state, I'm looking at life, and I'm just like, would be sad to be Pat right now, but let's see what happens. It's Fi. So we're gonna see Blossom of Spring. Interesting pick from Pat.
It's an interesting pick in the sense that like it's just that little bit of extra explosiveness that it's that on-demand resource.
It is, and that's where we're gonna see it. On-demand resource, not having to lose a card from your hand to Art of War. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's a free creep, or no, sorry, a free tunic is what it is, like on demand without the block. Poor man's tunic.
Yeah. It's a poor man's tunic, but in this case, it's perfect. So we're going to see Blossom of Spring breaking into Art of War, drawing 2 cards. Now, are we going to see Magical Christmas land? Because, this round's on me. Great card, but you're giving an extra card to Fi.
Yep. So
an Art of War is giving him an extra card.
So at this point, Art of War has negated. Oh, we have the double Art of War. So the first Art of War has negated the this round's on me. The second Art of War is now buffing for 1.
And he still has 5 cards.
He's able to.
Still has 5 cards.
You got to assume there's 3 Draconics in there, so he can like tutor for the Phoenix Flame for free.
I mean, I just went from going, oh, this is done, to what's going to happen?
If there's a chance, this is it. So starting with the Spreading Flames for 4.
Is there a better card to start the chain with? I don't think there is. I think that's the card.
There's hope here. There is certainly
down from
hope
5 to 4. I mean, we're looking at 1 floating, 4 damage, and 4 damage. And Jorge's Discord's not working, but they're talking to chat. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but there's going to be no blocks, no reactions on that. So that's going to be 4 whole damage, and we're going to see Mask of the Pouncing Lynx go for, I would assume, a Lava Burst.
It's either it depends how wide Pat can go here. Like it's either Lava Burst or it's Salt the Wound. At some point, Salt the Wound does become bigger, but I don't know what. Yeah, he's grabbing Lava Burst, so he's not anticipating being able to go wide enough for an effective Salt the Wound turn. That's assuming he's even got more than 1 Salt in the deck. Sometimes Salt is a 1-eye.
So here's the thing. At this point, do you just go, I can play the game too, and just go as wide and do as much damage as possible, and kind of just do a show of force, and then say, yeah, you won, but I look at all the D's, look at what I got,
Just try to flaunt it, and that might be. I mean, at no point does it make sense to just try to just roll over and like accept defeat. Like you got to at least try.
You gotta play.
Yeah. Otherwise, what's the point? So
there is no intentional drawing in Flesh and Blood.
No, there is not. Nor do we want there to be.
Play your games. That's what James White says. You just play the games, and that's what we're seeing Pat do right now. He's playing the game. He says, yeah, that was pretty cool, but I can do cool stuff too. Check this out. So we've got, so far, this would have been 10 damage threatened. Right now we're looking at 8 damage threatened, 3 cards in hand, a lava burst, at the ready, and 1 floating from Pat.
So yeah, there's damage on the board for sure.
2 in hand, 1 in arsenal. Apologies. Tiger Strike Shuko has not been used yet. Nope. It can still block. It's a 2 block. And we're going to see it. Oh, you're going to want to block that.
Might want to put a card in front of that one.
Yeah, you might want to put a card in front of that one.
This ends up being snatch for 4, 3.
Which color snatch is it? It's a yellow?
It's a blue.
Oh, yeah, 3. Yeah, it's for 3.
Yeah, because it will get -1 off this round's on me.
Yeah, it does not get the bonus from, it sadly does not get the bonus from Spreading Flames, which would have been very nice, but that's coming for 3. I'm not sure if we can, we're not going to interfere with the game, but this should be for 3. Are we going to see, I'm guessing we're going to see Snapdragon Scalers.
I would presume so.
There we go. Yeah, there it is. Perfect. A good flip on that card. We're going to see a draw. Oh, it is Draconic because of Brand.
And it is 100% Draconic. You're right. Yeah, sorry. My apologies.
Wow. I always forget, I'm like, Brand for Thunderclaw, that's 0 for 3, right? Yeah. No, it's 0 for 3 and does stuff.
Brand's definitely a powerhouse.
Yeah, and now we're going to see both items being thrown, both equipment being thrown in front of it by Jorge.
Yeah, you don't let this. You can't even with the life lead. I don't think you can let this hit just because of the potential of how this can snowball.
And unfortunately, that's really interesting. I want to know what Pat has in arsenal.
Bear in mind that Searing Emberblade does get a buff off of, I believe, Spreading Flames at this point.
Yeah, it does. It's coming in for 4, but still, and it's unaffected by this round's on me. But with all of that, I'm thinking it's still going to be a massive lava burst.
Attacks that? No, it is affected by Searing or by this round's on me.
It is. So it is only coming in for 3, which is unfortunate. He's going to bring back
Phoenix Flame. This guy should be +1 off the Shuko.
Oh my god.
What this turn could have been if there wasn't a this round's on me is insane.
It's absolutely disgusting.
Because even as it is, this is a formidable turn.
It is great, and it's not done.
No, we still got the lava burst.
And a card in arsenal.
And a card in arsenal. I keep forgetting about that card in arsenal.
And it's been there for a while, so I'm at this point I'm like, what is it? Pat, I want to know what it is.
I hope it's something useful here. Oh, it doesn't look like it though.
So that's very unfortunate. And that lava burst is going to come in for 1, 2. What is it? Oh, okay, yeah, that got triggered. The Tiger Strike Shuko got triggered, so it's only coming for what is it, 7? Yeah. It's coming in for not enough.
When you consider that, that's still a very impressive turn. Jorge started that turn off at 30. He threw 2 pieces of equipment in front of that and still is at 7. Like I said, if we didn't have this rounds on me on that, and maybe that snatch hits, that's that is the turn Pat needs at that point.
And what's kind of unfortunate at this point is that Jorge doesn't have to do much to win the game. He has to make a rune chant and attack with it. And we're gonna
see a Sonata. We're gonna salt in the wound here. Do we have it?
You kind of hope he doesn't, right? And there it is.
And that should be game.
And there it is. That should be game down to 0.
Well
played. Oh my. And this this round's on me is one of those cards that when it got printed, no one saw that card as being valuable. or a few people were like, "Oh, it's cool for control." Like some Dash players were playing it, and then it was Matthew Fawkes who was like, "This card's brutal, and it's amazing, amazing in Briar." So I think he was the first player to popularize it. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, but we just saw how backbreaking it is in the mirror, like in an aggro mirror. It is so strong, and you're right. Pat could have gone like that. That this runs on me blocked what, like 7 damage.
Something like that, like without having the board open right in front of me anymore. It was, yeah, it was what, 5, 6 links on the chain, so each of those is a +1 or a
Yeah,
-1. So yeah, that's an insane amount of damage that's
but
prevented off of this round.
and looking at that turn one that Jorge had, where he went, "This round's on me. Channel mount, go."
Yeah,
Like,
that's exactly what you're hoping to do as Briar. That is exactly what Briar wants to do. Briar wants to go first and just have that huge setup turn.
I mean, that's I've played some unfortunate games where you're like, well, there's not much I could have done there. But if you're Pat and your opponent goes, "This round's on me, channel mount," you have to have like the best 4 card hand in the game to be able to go, "I can do stuff too," right? I can have a big turn as well. Watch me go. And I think that that's what Pat did. And even though he was in such an unfavorable position, if you're able to go, "I have 6 cards. I'm going to go Art of War into just absolutely overwhelming presence on the chain, and getting him down from 30 to, he did 31 damage that turn. That would have been lethal had Jorge not blocked, right? So
Yep, yep.
it's Fi is scary, and there we go. The board's all over the place.
Didn't have it on stream, but
That's fine. So look, I'm, and I know Pat. I'm like, oh, I wish he's a teammate, so I wish he would have won that game. But at the same time, Briar, Briar. We're
Briar
gonna
goes
see.
brr.
Then there he is, the man. Um, Briar is just one of those decks that just wins. It wins. It wins. But we all know, and we're all anticipating after ProQuest Season 1 of 2023, we're pretty sure Briar is going to go bye-bye. What is she at now? 922 Living Legend points, something like that? 920?
Oh, she's close. I know with like the retweak of the LL system, it slowed her progress down, but she is very close. She's
Yeah.
just like on the edge. But we do have the man himself joining us after his
Oh man.
very unfortunate defeat. Pat Smash
Hey,
Good, how's it going?
sometimes you're the fly, sometimes you're the windshield. And I was definitely the fly on that one. I mean,
Oh, boy.
it was great. George was a great guy. We had a lot of technical issues there. TTS can be a little fickle, so we got up and running. But look, turn 0, channel mount heroic into this round's on me. Immediately gets me on my back foot. Can't really do much there. Didn't let me filter my hand there either. And I had a really awkward. I had 2 Rise from the Ashes, a Flame Call Awakening, and I think I had a E Strike in there.
Yeah.
And then I drew into uh, I drew into 2 more Phoenix Flames on the next turn cycle. Like it just wasn't in the cards there, and him starting
Uh,
out with what do you deal? That CMH turned into like 20 some odd damage, ending with uh the the 10 damage Swarming Gloom Veil. Where I just felt like
yeah.
I had to do something to just stave the bleeding off. And then I got into the double Art of War, and I'm like, if it wasn't for the second this round,
I
I drew
know.
into that Art of War, and I'm like, okay, I had to take the tempo in Arsenal. That
So it was,
art
man, Adam and I were like, "What's in the arsenal?"
Yeah, I got to take the tempo, but it was just I had so many like it just not a ton of synergy that I wanted out of that, and it was just that's on the wrong side of the variance there. But I thought I still had a chance when I drew the second Art of War, but I drew into a blue Rising and a blue Snatch on the
Yeah.
second one, right? Like, but I needed every inch to try and get something out of that turn. I thought the second Art of War might do it, but alas. It wasn't meant to be.
What Adam and I were saying is kind of like, at this point, and not just that, George or Jorge, I'm not sure what you prefer, George, just let us know. But he had one of those games where you go, I'm playing into Fi, turn one, here's a this round on me, and here's a channel, go. And and as a Fi player, how does that feel?
It's. I think this is where people can complain and say, "Oh, I got high rolled," but this round's on me is a sideboard card that comes in specifically for the matchup. He's running channel like the deck is built around the channel mount heroics. He got his good stuff. I got my good stuff. One turn cycle later. If I had gone first in that game, I actually probably would have been slightly ahead in that, and he would have been slowed down. That channel mount heroic would probably come after my Art of War. It just so happens that's he got the cards that he wanted out of his deck before I did, and he played them before I could get a chance to do what my thing was. And so it was, he teched well, and his deck drew well. So that's all you can really ask of that.
And that goes back to our episode with Michael Hamilton on the combat chain, where Michael Hamilton talked about like so much of being a top tier player comes down to just that good prep, that good sideboard, having a good sideboard plan, having a good game plan for every matchup. And we saw just that for Jorge here. He's like, you know what? Especially in this league where you can face anything, you can't metagame like you can for like say Worlds or a Pro Tour or something like that. You have to be prepared for everything, and Jorge clearly did. He brought in the right tech card. He had the right tech card for this match, and kudos to him.
He played that this round's on me and drew the channel.
Oh, no way!
Terrible.
I mean, yeah, watching that Pat was like, watching that Pat like we were talking about like the game Daniel Rakowski versus Chris in the semifinals of the Worlds, and you're like, Briar just does things. Briar is one of those decks that just does things. But Adam made a comment that I thought was really interesting going into the thing. He's like, USA is all about aggro decks and muscle cars and stuff, and that was very much a muscle car matchup. That was just, I've got the guns, you've got the guns, let's go. And I think you're right. I think you're right about the analysis on turn cycling, and like, starting in the aggro mirror is really relevant, and the quality of your start affects the tempo of the game. And that start from Jorge was just exactly what you want against Fi. Aces. Yeah, exactly.
And he says that's why you play Briar, right? But that's exactly why you play, because you are capable of doing things like that.
And, it's as far as the Rune Blades go, as far as aggro decks go, it has the highest ceiling for sure. Like it's not always going to draw the nuts, but when it does, there's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah. And I felt when he flipped Briar, I felt good. I've been as Fi against Rune Blades. I've been something like I think it was like I've been like 5-1 going back to US Nats and the Calling Charlotte. Just Rune Blades for breakfast, but no one's been able to high roll me like that. I say high roll. I don't mean it like that, but he did what I've been doing to them. So law of averages. It was my time.
It was bound to happen at some point.
But Pat, I'll tell you something. That game, just a quick segue to like the quality of the players from Chile. I played Drama into Icelander into one of their players, a gentleman by the name of Felipe, and I lost a game that should be highly favored for me, but he played really well, and there was just those couple turns where he had the hypothermia at the right time, I didn't have enough blues, and then the game kind of goes from there, and I think that's kind of what happens here, because I agree with you. I think Fi is favored. Fi is a lot more consistent than Briar is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. But in what you saw there was just a slightly lower ceiling, and that's but we're talking percentage points, right? I mean, Briar's capable of like a 42 damage turn if it hits the nuts, and Fi can do like 35, which is usually enough. But it's just a matter of who gets their nukes off first. That's all. But That's what
That's
that is.
aggro.
I don't have time to see the second cycle in my deck. Someone's gonna die quick.
Live
Live
by the
fast, die
sword.
hard.
Yeah, live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah.
100%. We are getting near the end of our broadcast for tonight. We do have a little bit of Fab Cup news, courtesy of Bobblehead. So it looks like in the Card Guys versus Kayfabe Cards
It's
matchup.
kayfabe carbs. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. I was stuck on the tip of my tongue. We don't have the players in that match, unfortunately. I do got to wonder. It sounds like there was a Dorinthia involved, so I got to wonder if Josh Lau had a hand in that one. But we've got the Card Guys getting a win over Kayfabe Cards. Dory versus Oldham, a nail biter apparently. So that one's up on the Card Guys channel if you guys want to check that out. But thank you all for tuning in.
Hey, just to get on there. Yeah, Josh Lau on Dory. Flake from Kayfabe Carbs takes it over Namvo.
Flake took it.
Wow.
Flake on Dash, Namvo on Oldham.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. Good for Flake.
It's funny because I was telling him, he's like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
CNC. Oh man. But we check out the Card Guys for that. They are live streaming tonight. Their games. We gotta get them on board here. We gotta get them onto the Fab Team Cup channel.
I mean, when we're already taking up the airwaves, though, they need somewhere else to go, right?
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
And you know what? It's okay. You can have like ESPN and then ESPN2 and ESPN 8 The Ocho, and they can all be going at the same time. So thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. We got to see two great matches tonight. The FAB Chile versus Combat Chain series, currently tied at 2. One more game left in that series. We don't know if we're going to have the coverage for you for that one, unfortunately. There's just so much content to cover for this league so far in the first few weeks that it's hard for us to get to everything. The one thing we do have coming, though, this Friday, we don't have the exact start time going on yet, but we do know sometime between 5 and 7 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be kicking off a Friday night feature match. We've got a couple great matches lined up for you already. We've got CG Monroe versus Bernard Hacia, followed up by Joe Colon taking on Calvin Holt. A big Titan match of Shaky Leaf Gaming versus the Hyperloops. We're hoping to get at least one more match booked for that one for you guys. But at the very least, we do have two great matches coming for you guys this Friday. We've got a great panel of commentators coming up with that as well. So please tune in for that. Please keep your eyes peeled on the Fab Foundry Discord, on Twitter, Facebook. We're going to have all the updates for you guys all throughout that. And is there anything else I'm forgetting, guys? Is there anything else we want to touch on before we shut it down for this inaugural broadcast of Fab Team Cup action?
I think everybody should keep their eyes on what's going on now. This is going to be the precursor for season 1. Top 8 deck lists for callings and battle hardens and stuff are great, but this is where it's at for me, at least. I'd say keep your eyes, on what's being played, on the players that are playing the decks. Friday is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I think everybody needs to be in on Friday. I think we're going to have a great stream for everybody. Not only talking about who's the talent we're going to have here for casting, but the quality of players. I'm in, man. I'll see you all on Friday. I hope to be casting with you guys. Today was an absolute pleasure. If we could cast on Friday, that'd be great. Keep me posted, and I'll see you all on Friday for sure.
Oh, we'll for sure get you in for a match, Shawn. No, that's not a problem.
Yay.
But anything from you, Pat, before we break away here?
Yeah, two things real quick. Shawn, fantastic job casting. I caught the first stream. You're a natural. So,
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Very good.
Gonna dust my shoulders off here, man. Just gonna.
No, it was very, very good. And I don't know if we've done the shilling yet, but the content creators, if you're watching on the stream, you're checking this out. The guys in the Combat Chain are, we're on here because we want to show kind of proof of concept for the Fab Team Cup thing. You can have your game streamed on here. Just reach out to us. This isn't because we're here. We just wanted to get it up and running and show you guys that it's there to be seen. Everyone who's in this league is eligible to have their game streamed. We want you on the Fab Team Cup channel. We have almost a dozen different content creators between us that are streaming on here. So, if you want your game out there, we can do it and we can get it on. So just reach out and just say, hey, this is when we're streaming, or this is when we're playing. We will get a streamer on there to give you play-by-play and get you the exposure during the tournament. So
yeah,
just don't be afraid to pull that trigger.
And the best people to reach out to, either you can reach out to myself, Farm Toolery, at Pat Smashgood. You can talk to either at On It or at Jesse Valdez. They can get you in touch with us. Keep forgetting which way to point.
Shy Guy Shawn.
At Shy Guy Shawn.
Shy Guy Shawn.
We Andy Modell can get you sorted. Mike Bobblehead, he can help get the process initiated for you. So just reach out to any one of us in the Fab Foundry Discord if you're looking to get some coverage for your matches, and we are happy to organize that
as well. He can get in.
Yeah. So I think with that being said, though, that brings us to the end of our inaugural test run.
Test stream.
The test stream. So thank you everybody for tuning in. It's been a blast, and don't forget to tune in Friday for our first feature night.
See you Friday.
Take care, guys.